I am invulnerable. No video game can defeat me. No. 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 Maybe a worthy challenge.
Today, I'm finally going to be pushing the RTX 4090 to its absolute limit, and I should have got this video out a while ago, but it took me an actual eternity to acquire a 4090, and then I kinda got distracted playing other games on said 4090, but you know, that's in the past, and it is officially time to pit this thing against the ultimate test of Minecraft. And once again, I'm only going to be using the most devastating of resource packs, shaders, and mods in order to truly max out the 4090's potential, just like I did with the RTX 3090 and 3090 Ti. And let me tell you, I'm sure there's a decent chance you've already heard this, but the 4090 is an absolute monster. Like, compared to the previous few graphics cards I've had, which were already pretty amazing, this thing's just a complete beast. So it'll be pretty interesting to see exactly what it can do against Minecraft, which overall isn't the most optimized game for amazing graphics, but you know, you could always just throw more power at it. And by the way, in the past, I've noticed many people saying things like, well, this isn't actually using said graphics card because Minecraft is mostly bound to CPU performance. And sure, this was technically true like 10 years ago, but as of now, Minecraft uses way more power on the GPU side than it did before, and that's not even mentioning when you have shaders going. When you do, your computer's gonna likely be using close to 100% of the graphics card power, so do keep that in mind. And for this video, I'll be recording everything at 4K, which is literally 4 times the resolution of 1080p, and much more demanding. I'm trying to throttle the 4090 after all, so I'm throwing everything I possibly can at it. And by the way, I still paid for this graphics card out of pocket, which was not particularly cheap. I still haven't seen that sweet Nvidia sponsorship, maybe one day, but I know you guys want to see this happen, and so do I, so here we are. And anyway, I believe I've done enough explaining, and now it's time to see what the 4090 is truly capable of. So to start things off, I'm gonna see just how unnecessarily high I can get my FPS, and there's little to no benefit of sending your FPS past like your monitor's refresh rate, but I don't care. I'm doing this because I can. And this is the one test that is actually potentially gonna use more of the processor than the 4090, so to start things off, I suppose we're gonna be pushing both the 4090 and the 13700K to the brink. With some fairly default settings and an uncapped frame rate with no mods installed, we're sitting around 750 FPS, but obviously we're not going to stop there. There's simply much more FPS to be had. So naturally we will install Sodium, which is one of the easiest ways to increase your FPS, and with Sodium installed, our FPS has already climbed by a couple hundred, but we can still surely squeeze out quite a bit more than this. So next I'll be lowering the game's render distance to its lowest setting, and at this point our FPS is starting to reach some pretty comical levels, but we can go further. I decided to just remove the entire world, and now we're sitting at a pretty respectable 2200 FPS, give or take. But this is where I ran into something kind of interesting. I realized that every single time I pressed F3, my FPS for a split second would be significantly higher, and then just suddenly drop down. So essentially, the F3 menu seemed to be limiting my FPS in some way. So I simply captured the FPS using Shadowplay, which revealed our FPS to be sitting anywhere from 3300 to 3900. But even at this point, I still had the game running at 4K, which means we could easily squeeze out some more performance. So I lowered the resolution to a level you probably would never actually like to play at and reached an absolutely hilarious 5000 FPS. And interestingly enough, our GPU usage is still higher than the CPU, so I guess I revoked my previous statement. But now it's time to get to the real testing. My main objective here isn't to destroy Minecraft with the RTX 4090, but rather the other way around. Just to start things off, I'm running Complementary Shaders as kind of a point of reference. It's one of the most popular shaders available, and I figure many of you would like to know how it runs on the 4090 at 4K, and here it's running at an extremely respectable 200 FPS. With that out of the way though, we're gonna take things up a notch. All of the shaders from here on out are ray traced, which adds some significant processing power requirements, and I'll start things off with the most well-known ray traced shader, which is SUSE PTGI, and right now I'm using the 3.0 version, and if you want a bit better performance, you should go with 2.1, but regardless, I'm using 3.0, and with the vanilla textures, I'm sitting somewhere between 80 to 100 FPS, depending on the biome. And in order to take advantage of these amazing shaders, I'll once again be using the amazing Patrix resource pack. And Patrix at this point is still probably my favorite resource pack that just adds incredible visuals to the game, and not only does it look amazing, but it also comes with a very sturdy performance hit. And you can pretty much already see that in action as we've lost 30 FPS just like that. And this is only the 64 resolution version. If you try to use the 256 version, chances are your game isn't even going to load. In fact, mine doesn't if I'm using Optifine, although I can just get through using Iris. This does, however, come with another massive performance hit, dropping us from 60 FPS to around maybe 25. I will say though, this is a massive improvement over the result I had a few years ago back with the 3090. In that video, I only had about 7 FPS with essentially the exact same setup. And if you'd like a nice middle ground between the 64 and the 256 resolution version, there is the 128 version, which exists as well, and it literally just sits between the two when it comes to both performance and visuals. Realistically though, if you'd like to play with the Patrix resource pack, I'd overall just recommend the 64 version because it still looks incredible regardless. Now, next I'm going to be switching out ASUS PTGI for both NostalgiaVX and KappaPT. These are once again ray traced shaders, which by the way are created by the same author, and in my opinion, two of the best looking shaders available. I mean, for starters, with either of these shaders enabled, the Nether is downright incredible. I mean, like, other shaders look pretty great in the Nether, but really I don't think any come particularly close to this. The combination of beautiful fog and incredible glowing objects is just unmatched. But as you would expect, this comes at a pretty significant performance cost, and again, this is only the 64 resolution version of Patrix. Switching back to 256 drops our FPS pretty significantly, although maybe not quite as bad as it did with ASUS, although we are in the Nether, which isn't quite as intensive as the overworld. And another area these shaders really excel, especially KappaPT, is an ancient city. The low visibility combined with dynamic lighting just makes everything down here downright horrifying and beautiful at the same time. But on the other hand, I think NostalgiaVX once again takes the lead in regular caves. And really, they're both pretty amazing shaders, but you are going to need a fairly capable computer in order to run them. And between the 3 ray traced shaders I've used in this video, ASUS PTGI still takes the biggest toll on my FPS when combined with Patrix, and when using the 256 resolution version along with the render distance of 32, I managed to bring the FPS into the single digits. And again, this is kind of the point where Minecraft itself is pretty much the bottleneck, but regardless, it's pretty fun to try and brute force it. And while I'm kind of covering ray traced shaders, I figured I'd also give Bedrock Edition RTX a try. And immediately, I noticed that for some reason my GPU usage was only at about 45%, which isn't optimal. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to change some settings or something in order to get actual full utilization, but you know, I still managed to get 70 FPS at full settings, so I guess it wasn't the absolute end of the world. Let me tell you though, in my opinion, this shader has the best indoor visuals I've covered in this video. I mean, just playing around with light sources is incredibly entertaining to me because the shadows behave in such a believable way. The outdoor lighting, on the other hand, isn't anything incredible, but still good enough to impress. Really though, the interiors in Bedrock RTX are absolutely carrying. Overall, it's pretty crazy to see just how much performance you can squeeze out of your computer just using Minecraft. At its base, most computers can run it, yet just a few shaders and resource packs can make it one of the most demanding games available. And like I mentioned, this is partially just a Minecraft problem, not an RTX 4090 problem, but you know, at the same time, I've still made performance gains, so I suppose theoretically, at some point, even modded Minecraft won't be enough to stop the best graphics cards. We've got a long while before that happens though. And anyway, that's gonna do it for this video, and let me know what shaders you prefer the most regardless of their FPS hit. And hey, if there's any other shaders or resource packs you think I should include next time around, definitely comment those below so I can take a look at them. And if you'd like to use anything that I included in this video, you can find it all in the description below. And anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, thanks for watching.